Hi friends, welcome to option trading की दुनिया. In this episode, I bring before you how to trade in options using a very simple strategy. So let me bring forward two very important things. First, conceptually I'll explain to you these two important things. The first one is pivot points and the second one is central pivot range. So let us proceed with the first learning what is pivot points. So in my 12 years of experience in options trading, I have used several different strategies, namely moving average, exponential moving average, RSI, stochastic oscillators, and I found this strategy, that is pivot points in addition to central pivot range, being very useful and a leading indicator which suggests in advance what is going to happen. So let me go through my slides and then I'll show you some examples, backtesting a few stocks or Nifty. So let us move forward. So firstly, the pivot points, and basically we see in pivot points the central pivot is the average. So you can see in the formula the basic pivot level. Some people call it as floor, a basic floor pivot. So in that is usually previous day's high, previous day's low and previous day's close. It's the average of all the three indicators. So pivot points, firstly we concentrate on the basic pivot point, PP we call it as. Then along with basic pivot we have usually three supports, S1, S2 and S3, and on the top we have three resistances, so R1, R2, R3. So you can see in the slide the formulas to calculate the three supports, S1, S2 and S3, and the three resistances, that is R1, R2 and R3. They basically are psychological levels calculated using a certain formula. They are very psychological levels. If you are observing the resistances and supports on each market, you will observe that they are very fundamental psychological levels. So these are the 6 supports and resistances, and the pivot is at the center. Now earlier we used to have only 7 indicators. So now some people work with R1, R2, R3, R4, R5 levels, S1, S2, S3, S4 and S5 levels, because markets have become so volatile. So there is a chance that market can move 1000 to 2000 points both sides. Sensex, Nifty, you can 1500, 600 points, just like that it can move. So therefore R4 and R5, S3, S4, S5 levels have been added. Now let me show you by a stock, Amazon stock. This is standard pivot points. Now standard floor pivots, you can see there R1, R2, R3. You can see S1, S2. I'll add the drawing tool. Just hold on for a second. So it is better that I add the drawing tool so that you can understand it very easily. So I'll add the drawing pen. Okay, I have added. So I'll keep it aside. Yeah, let us come back to the slide. Okay, so from the drawing tool, let me just draw and show you. Okay, you can see the pivot points are here. So you can see somewhere here R1, R2, R3. Then we can also see the supports S1, S2. Yeah. So basically there are 7. So in this diagram there is no central pivot range. Pivot point is at the center. Then we have got the resistances on the top and supports at the bottom. So let us move forward. So this is basic. You need not to calculate the pivot points. They are readily available in tradingview.com, or if you are using Zerodha or any other trading platform, they are readily available. So now let me move forward. Yeah. So let us master the pivot points. So now here the previous slide you already seen. So yeah, how to master the pivot point trading. So let me give you some points. Firstly, presentation matters. Many people put all those 7 pivot points in a trading chart, and they will very difficult. They get confused with which line is what, which is a pivot line, which is a support line. So therefore you must follow a color code before you have the pivot lines. The most commonly used method is the pivot point. We code it as black color somewhere at the center. Yeah, black color somewhere at the center. Then support lines, one color for supports and another color for resistances. Usually resistances we have in red color, and the support lines we have in green color to avoid the confusion. So second thing is, you should always keep in mind to set a stop loss for every trade. So these pivot points are very useful because they are psychological levels, so that they can be used to set the stop loss or to book profit. So let me move forward. Now it is important for all trades, but it becomes absolutely crucial when trading using pivot points. This is because there is always a good chance of sometimes a support or resistance is broken. So you immediately jump out and say it's a breakout. But sometimes what happens is it is just a bounce. Yeah, this happens. So therefore it is always important that you place your stop loss somewhere above the candle, or for the support somewhere below the candle. So therefore it is always important. Sometimes you may find something is a breakout or a bounce. In that bounce, yeah, you may be fooled. So therefore there is a chance of making big losses. So when you are following the pivot points, you always keep the stop loss in mind. Lastly, it is important to stay disciplined. So you stick on to your discipline. So you should keep a stop loss. You should always keep your profits. Yeah, so whenever it reaches a particular support level or resistance level, you have to book profits. So you should always also keep stop losses in mind. So that is how you maintain discipline. This means that irrespective of what happens, stick to your rules. Do not move the stop loss. You think that I want to move my stop loss. No, do not move the stop loss no matter whatever happens. You also book your profits at a particular level. So there will be more opportunities and more ways to profit. It is not worth compromising your discipline. So many traders lose because they compromise on the discipline. When you open a trade, wait until it touches the next price line. and hits the stop loss before closing the trade. So either you stop your trade with next price line, or let it hit the stop loss, so your trade is closed. And don't trade after that. So once you make profit, don't be fooled and go for compulsive trading. No, don't do that. Do not close the trade before that. Yeah, don't go for compulsive trading. So let us move forward now. So after learning the pivot points, supports and resistances, it always important that you learn about central pivot range. Central pivot range is an indicator to identify key price points to set up trades. Central pivot range is at somewhere in the center. It consists of 3 important points. So that is, one is pivot. So if I draw it here, yeah, so pivot, yeah, pivot is somewhere at the center. I write it as P. So pivot, yeah. Next we have got one more line, central bottom central pivot, we call it as BC. So we have got BC. Then we have got top central pivot. So 3 lines, top central pivot, TC. So this is how we have the central pivot range. It's a range. So sometimes the stock or the index may move between the central pivot range like this. Yeah, it becomes very, very important. So you should keep in mind, whenever a stock or index moves within the central pivot range, it is always better to avoid trading. So now the pivot we already learned. I told you always should mark with black. So in those 7 lines we earlier said, that is the pivot point, the central line is pivot. So this is same here, central pivot range, and that pivot line is same. And along with those 7 we add 2 more. So that is bottom central pivot, that is below. So this is the one, bottom central pivot. Then we have got top central pivot. Yeah, top central pivot and bottom. So you see the calculation. Yeah, bottom central pivot is high plus low of the day, low of the previous day divided by 2. Top central pivot is pivot minus, yeah, bottom central pivot plus pivot. Yeah, so this range becomes very, very important. It helps the trader to identify key price points. This trade is on price points and the trend. So central pivot range becomes very, very crucial. So let us move forward. Yeah, now see here. So I will erase this. Yeah, so you can see. So there is a chart of Mahindra and Mahindra. So you can very easily identify. The data is for few days. Yeah, maybe if I mark it here, see we have got 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. Yeah, and there are 3 marks there. You can see central pivot range is marked for various days. And in this you can see central pivot range is very narrow some places, and central pivot range is very, very wide. How to identify the central pivot range is going to be narrow or wide? So you can see in the first arrow here, somewhere here, central pivot range is narrow. So whenever the price movements or the price action on the previous day, yeah, it's not trending, very stable, opening and closing almost at the same level. So you can see the central pivot range here is very, very narrow. So in the second arrow also you can see the previous day's price range. You can see price range is very stable. Yeah, price is in a range. So whenever price is in a range, next days CPR is very narrow. Now, if the price range on the previous day is trending, so this is a trending move, trending upside move or trending bullish move. So on the next day, the central pivot range is white. So you can observe. So whenever the central pivot range is white, you can always say that on the previous day, the stock market has, or the particular stock has rallied. So rally can be upward, upward trending, or the rally can be downward trending. So this is where you are learning whether it's upward trending or so this is a trending day. You can see the next day the central pivot range is very wide. So let us move forward. Let us move forward to the next day. Yeah, so okay, so now let me come to the CPR range, narrow range CPR, wide range. I already explained you. If today is a narrow range day, market is ranging very narrowly, tomorrow CPR will be very narrow. If today is a trending day, tomorrow CPR is going to be very wide. So higher the trend means either upward trend or the downward trend, wider is the CPR. Yeah, so further if you are seeing bullish outlook, bullish means upward trending. Look for buying opportunities when the current market price is higher than top central pivot. Yeah, this I will explain to you. Whenever on a trending day, you look for opportunities when the candle makes a closing above the top central pivot. So in pivot we have got bottom central and top central. In the top central, if the market index or the stock is breaking out, so candle is breaking out and forming the next candle above the top central pivot, then you have a bullish outlook, so you can start buying at that particular point of time. Next, let us go to the next slide. You can see I am backtesting here. So yeah, so if I am drawing here, so now just look at here. So this is one opportunity. So this is top central pivot. Yeah, somewhere at the central we have got the pivot. So top central pivot, and this is the place where this particular Bajaj Auto has found support here. After support at that particular top central pivot, it is moving upward. See this candle. This candle is a big green candle. So there is a chance for entry here. Yeah, look here also. I can mark the arrow here. So it has gone above. So somewhere here you can purchase, buy. Yeah, you can somewhere here you can buy, keeping this as the stop loss. So this as a stop loss you can buy, and you can sell it somewhere here. So you can make good money using the breakout. So always make sure that whenever it breaks out, you keep the stop loss. So many places you can see here there is a breakout. You can also see here there is a breakout. Yeah, from the top central pivot. Okay, so let us move further. Yeah. Now here, earlier I have shown an upward trend, now I am showing a downward trend. How this particular BSC stock, yeah, see here, it has broken. So this is a very crucial point here. So this candle has opened below, yeah, so you can wait for the next candle. So this is a very forward looking indicator. Immediately you can enter a short trade. So you can short here. Yeah, you can ride this particular candle and you can somewhere here, this is the end of the day, so somewhere here you can book your profit. So this is one indicator. So because at this point it has broken bottom central pivot, and convincingly there is a fall. Now you can also many price points, so somewhere here it has broken, somewhere here this green candle, top central pivot it has broken, you can ride this and make profit, you can sell somewhere here. It's always important that you have to keep stop losses in mind. Next let me move forward. So now, we have learnt about pivot points, how pivot points become psychological levels in trading, how to make a breakout trade. And next I explained you central pivot range, how central pivot range helps you to identify the support and resistance pattern. And in that I said it is considered bullish if the current market price is higher than the top central pivot line. It is considered bearish with the charts I had shown you if the current market price is below the bottom central pivot. So bullish if the breakout is above the top central pivot. It is bearish if it is below the bottom central pivot. You can take trades accordingly. Now, so this is what I have in my slide, so I close the slide. Now let me show you a few charts. So I am showing you the Nifty chart. This is 20, today we are on 27th. You can see the closing chart of Nifty, so I can make it still smaller, so you can see 3 days central pivot range for Nifty. See today on market closing, today was a bearish day. Market had a big fall in the morning, around 300 and odd Nifty points. So now you can see here, very convincingly, even the previous day the price action was very volatile. You can see very wide CPR range, you can see very wide, so CPR range was very wide, and you can see the central black line is pivot. So even the previous day, that is on 25th, 26th was a trading holiday, so 25th also you can see the central pivot range was very wide, and on 24th the central pivot range was very narrow. So at these 3 days you can see on 24th somewhere here, you see market just opened somewhere near the bottom central pivot. So anybody could have taken a short trade and would have made very good money on that day, because the fall was very huge. And on again on 25th I am simply back testing just how central pivot range is working. You can see there was no trading opportunity, because on 25th it was trading just below the central pivot range. You can see it was just trading below the central pivot range. Now slowly it moved above, so there was a chance here for those who are taking trade. It crossed here the bottom central pivot range, and exactly it closed somewhere near the top central pivot. So it is always better that you don't trade whenever market is trading within the central pivot range. But even today market recovered, and it closed somewhere very close to the pivot level. So there was no opportunity. Yeah, but here you could have used the pivot points and trade it. You see there the resistance here. Yeah, so resistance 1. So as soon as the market crossed the resistance 1, you could have traded here, and when it touched the central pivot, that is bottom central pivot, you could have closed trade, or you would have carried the trade and closed when it touches the pivot. So those pivot point opportunities were there. Yeah, but there was no opportunity in the central pivot trading range. So this is how we use the central pivot range, stop, that is supports and resistances. So for today we had the central pivot range somewhere here. So these were the resistances: resistance 1, resistance 2. Then we had support 1, and then so you could have made use of these supports, but it is always better we use the central pivot range in line with supports and resistances to trade. So you can also use the weekly supports and weekly resistances in order to confirm your trade. So using the 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour chart. So if you are using 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour chart, basically the supports, resistances and the central pivot range is going to be the same. If you are using a weekly chart, because weekly chart is based on the closing, opening of weekly candles, so therefore it is going to be different. So whenever you are using supports, resistances, central pivot range, it's always better that sometimes you coordinate your daily or 5 minutes chart along with the day chart and weekly chart, so you will get a better confirmation. So thank you for watching option trading ki duniya. So I will be coming up with more videos. I will do back testing. I will try this central pivot range with the pivot points with many more stocks. So thank you for patiently watching. So continue supporting my channel Option Trading Ki Duniya. So if you are not already subscribed, please subscribe, like and share. So I'll be coming up with many more trading indicators and strategies, and I'll also sometimes use option live trading for all my subscribers, so that you can use pivot trading as well as central pivot range in a live market. So thank you.